All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and start off today by going through the Futato exercises. So if I pull up the exercise sheet here, we're chapter 24, activities A through F. I'm going to try to go through these quickly, just to kind of give you an overview. Obviously, you have the answers, but I'm going to point out kind of, you know, the unusual stuff or tips, things like that. So as we go through this section A here, we know we're looking for the most part at volatives. He may throw in some non-volative forms just to keep you on your toes, but you got a heads up you're looking for volatives. And so volatives are going to be in the first person, the cohortative, second person, the imperative, and third person will be the jussive. So we'll just starting right here, number one, right off the bat. If you see an aleph or noon prefix with a hey suffix, I mean comet's hey suffix, you can just go ahead and write it down. This is going to be cohortative. Aleph indicates first common singular. Obviously, noon indicates first common plural. But when you see that first person prefix and the comet's hey suffix, just mark it down as cohortative. Easy to do. Now, that'll work for we may run into a couple exceptions to this with the comet's hey at the end of a 1CS or 1CP in the imperfect family later on, but we'll deal with those when we get to them. Right now, this comet's hey at the end of a word, or at the end of a verb rather, with a prefix is going to be your clue that you've got a cohortative going on here. All right, so next we've got zivhu. Another little clue, when you see a hirik and then a shavah in what looks like, I guess I should say, trying to think of the best way to approach this. There's a couple ways to kind of dissect what you've got here. When you look at this, the first thing that you see is a triconsonantal root with a suffix. So you're probably thinking perfect if you're not already primed to be looking for volatives. The problem is the perfect is not going to have the hirik over here, unless it's, let's put it this way. The perfect is not going to have a hirik shavah. All right, so when you see hirik shavah, I want to say with a suffix, but even without a suffix, because the 2ms form won't have a suffix. When you see a hirik shavah here and you see all the letters of your root, you can mark it down as imperative, okay? The reason why here is because you don't have a prefix, and the imperative is basically the imperfect minus the prefix. So that's what we're seeing here. Now, when we're looking at the jussive, which is what this next one will be, you are going to see a prefix, but there are going to be certain forms that are shortened. So, for example, here, yivin, this is actually from bana. Now, normally, in the imperfect, the third hey, we don't lose that third hey unless we're adding some sort of a, vocalic suffix or something like this. But the jussive will go ahead and pull that third hey syllable off. How the jussive kind of pulls the accent back to the front. So it's not yivin, it's yivin. Well, basically what we've got here is an indication of the jussive by the fact that the comet's hey is missing. Now, that I want you to be aware. A lot of times when you see an imperfect form that you're used to labeling as imperfect, form-wise, it could be jussive. The jussive, in a lot of cases, is going to look identical to the imperfect. Now, I'm not saying that you have to say imperfect or jussive in the conjugation every single time. If it could be imperfect or jussive and you want to just put imperfect, I'm fine with that. But what I'm referring to here is specifically to the third person. But in these cases, the giveaway that you've got adjussive is going to be that you've still got your imperfect prefix, but you've actually lost something from the imperfect form. So in the third hey, that's going to be a drop in the comet's hey syllable here, that third hey syllable. Excuse me. All right, so pretty straightforward there. Number 4, we've got shave. This is yashav, from yashav, but it's missing that prefix. We in the imperfect we would see this as yashave, but here it's just shave. And actually we'd see it as shave because this is going to be the 2ms form. And 2ms has the tav prefix, but again, we've got kind of a root here with no prefix. And so this is, if it's got no prefix, it's either going to be perfect, or it's going to be infinitive, or it's going to be imperative. It's not infinitive because if we know that this is from Yashav, then we would expect shevet, that segel tav pattern. But with the imperative, we expect the sere pattern, teshav, or yeshav in the third person, but since this is imperative, it's teshav, and the prefix is dropped off. All right. Lake, this is one that this form occurs so often that you might as well just memorize lake here as the 2ms imperative for halach, get up. Or I'm sorry, not get up, it's go. Often you will, well, not, I don't know how often it is, but it's not uncommon to see lake appear in the phrase kum lake. Kum lake would mean get up and go, or come on now, something like that. All right, number 6, again, we've got a noon prefix with a cometay suffix. Never mind the fact that this is natan. I mean, if you realize this is natan, this might get a little bit confusing for you because, you know, is this the noon prefix or is this the noon of the root? What's going on here? I don't even need to worry about that. I've got a noon prefix, I've got a cometay suffix. This is going to be cohortative. The only other option that you might be thinking of here is, well, what if it is Cal Perfect 3FS? Wouldn't that explain this? But remember, in the Cal Perfect, we're not going to have a Hirik Shava here. If this were Cal Perfect, this would be a Comet's Shava. All right. Then here we've got Bakay. Bakay, this is the, when we have a third hey verb, you can just sort of memorize the sere hey suffix, or not suffix, but the sere hey ending as imperative, as the imperative ending of a third hey verb. So this one's going to be 2ms imperative. Here we've got an aleph with a comet's hey, so again, I just go ahead and assume that what I've got here is a cohortative. Now, if I take off the prefix and I take off the suffix, I'm still left with 2 consonants, so I have to do a little bit of digging to figure out, am I missing, is hey part of my root? Am I missing something else at the end? Am I missing something from the beginning? Of course, we are missing something from the beginning, and your clue here to that is the sere. This would normally be a sere pattern. So this would be a de, or I guess a day, because it's from Yada, that one yod vav family. But the sere here, the sere here reduces to a shava in order to make room for the comet's hey cohortative suffix. All right, so this is going to be cohortative 1cs, and that's from Yada. And then finally, kuhu. Again, this is no prefix. So if there's no prefix, it's either perfect or it's no prefix means it's either perfect or it's, I guess, participle could be in the mix too. But you're going to have other distinctive features that tell you participle. It's not perfect because perfect is going to have it's not going to start with a shava and then have nothing. There's something missing here, okay? So Shava and R1 with 2 root letters, just that doesn't work for perfect. Infinitive, it's not an infinitive because it has a shuric suffix. Infinitives can hold suffixes. You know, there could be a 3ms suffix here, but that would be a holem vav rather than a shuric. And so we're left with imperative. And since it's got the shuric here, that's going to be the 2mp imperative of lakach. We lost the lamed here because it's going to act like a. Interestingly, here it acts like a 1 yod rather than a 1 noon. So 1 yod, you're going to get something like, since it's second person, it would be tekech, that sere pattern. But we're going to take off the prefix here, I think. I'm not completely sure on the morphology there, but this is imperative. This is from Lakach, and it is 2MP. All right, and then here we've got Kitvi. Kitvi, this one could be an infinitive with a 1CS suffix, I think. I'm not sure if it would look any different. It's possible that this would have a Kametz Hatuf here if this were infinitive construct, but I'd have to look into that. But since we know we're looking at volatives, this is going to be the imperative because I have an imperfect suffix, the hierik yod, which is the 2fs suffix in the imperfect, but I'm missing my imperfect prefix. That tells me this is a 2fs imperative from Katav. All right, so same thing basically as we go through here. Just kind of go through and tell you, this one is imperative because it doesn't have a prefix, and that's basically it. When you've got a volative without a prefix, it's going to be imperative. This one here is going to be cohortative because of the noon and the Kametz Hey. This one here is going to be jussive because it has a prefix. It's third person prefix, and it's missing the Kametz Hey or segel Hey or whatever you want to call it for the third Hey. Here, al, ya'al. Al gives you a really good clue that this is imperative because al is used to negate an imperative. So ya'al here. This is actually jussive. Okay, so al gives you a clue. I said imperative. I think I'm pretty sure al is used for imperatives. Here it's used for a jussive, and the reason why I know this is jussive and not imperative is because, one, I've got a third person prefix, so that's one clue. And then second, when I look at Allah, or when I look at al here, I know that this is Allah, or at least I'm pretty confident this is Allah. Allah is, he went up, but it's missing its Kametz Hey. Well, that's an indication that it's jussive because the jussive, a third Hey verb will often lose its, Hey as a result of the jussive. So those are my clues here for jussive. Here we've got shilhu. This is from shalach. And basically it's going to be an imperative because it doesn't have a prefix, and the shurik is going to indicate that it is 2MP. Here we've got divki, so this is from davach. Again, no prefix, so this is imperative. Hierik yod indicates 2FS. Al erda, okay. Al erda, so this is from again, al will work with any of the volatives, I suppose. Here it's working with a cohortative because we've got an aleph at the beginning and a Kametz Hey at the end. If I take those off, I'm only left with resh and dalet. But this sere prefix here gives me a clue that I've got a 1 yod, or 1 yod vav, because I had a sere pattern. Now again, that second sere was reduced to a shava to accommodate the new syllable that's added by a Kametz Hey. but this is going to be cohortative. Here we've got a pretty simple imperative. This has no prefix. Shurik indicates 2MP, Banu, from Bana. And then here we've got, this is going to be an imperative. No prefix. The prefix would have been Yetse. The full word would have been Yetse in 3MS. In 2MS, it would be Tatese. And in 2MP, it would be Tateseu, I guess. Tateseu. Or maybe Tateseu. But because we have lost the prefix, that means that it is now imperative rather than imperfect. All right. Laku, this one is a little bit tricky. It almost just looks like a preposition here. But since I know it's going to be a verb, and I wouldn't really know what ku would be if this were a preposition, I'm thinking, what verbs do I know with a lamed chaf? I'm thinking halach. Halach acts, it gets adopted into the one yod family, and one yods are notorious for losing their one yod. And so that's what's happened here. Along with the prefix, those are gone. So this is imperative. Shurik indicates 2MP. So I've got a 2MP imperative from from halach. And finally, number 11, we've got ta'as. Okay, ta'as here, I do have a prefix. This is not part of the root. My root here is actually asa with the comet's hay. And the fact that this ta'as has lost the comet's hay tells me that this is jussive. And so this is actually going to be a jussive 3FS. The tav here in the imperfect will indicate either 3FS or 2MS. And since we've lost the comet's hay, it's going to be jussive. And so that tells me it's 3FS. All right, and then the final one here, al again will negate. Tevach, tevach. This is interesting. Tevach. I'm not really sure how to pronounce this. I've not seen this before. So assuming this isn't a typo, whenever you have two shavas at the end of the word, they're both silent. They form a blend. It's just hard to get a blend of bait and kaf together. So I'm going to assume that the tav here is my prefix. And when I assume that, I now have bait and kaf together. And I have to figure out what triconsonantal root includes a bait and a kaf. And one that I think of would be baka, which is he wept. Basically, he cried, he wept. But it's a third hay. Well, the third hay is missing. That's a good indication that I have the jussive, because the jussive is going to drop the third hay when it pulls the accent toward the front. So this is actually tevch. Well, that's what I said before, I guess. There's only one kind of syllable here. So baka is going to be my root. Tevch is going to be another example of the 3FS jussive. All right, so translations. Let's take a look at number 3 here. The first thing I see is I see a noon prefix with comet's hay, so it's going to be cohortative. When I take those off, I get zachar. Zachar is he remembered. So here in the cohortative, this would be something like, this is plural, this would be something like let us remember or may we remember. Et is going to tell me what my direct object is. May we remember Yahweh, Adonai, the Lord. May we remember the Lord. And again, I've got a noon prefix of the comet's hay. And when I take those off, I'm left with avad. So avad here gets a little bit tricky. There are two verbs that when you say avad, it could be one of these two. The one with the ayin, and I know that Futato's answer is over here somewhere. I'm not looking at that right now. I'm trying to kind of go through this without looking. The one with the ayin, I'm almost certain, because I get these mixed up too. This is the one that refers to like a servant, or sometimes it can mean slave, something like that. The other avad has to do with, and my mnemonic is evade. So I feel like avad means something like you're either going to run away or you're going to like attacks, like something that needs to be evaded, which I want to say that avad would be like, or maybe it's pass over, something like that. Let me go ahead and check my lexicon here for what that other one is, because now I'm starting to give you mnemonics that may not be helpful. Perish. Okay, so I wanted to evade perishing. It's sort of or evade being destroyed, avad. So then it's sort of a false mnemonic, false cognate idea. Avad, I want to evade perishing. I want to evade being destroyed. That sort of a thing. That may be a terrible mnemonic for you because now you may think avad means evade. It doesn't. It's a reverse mnemonic. It's the mnemonic itself is related to the word, but as you can see, when you do reverse mnemonics, they can be tricky because you may forget that it's reverse, and you may actually say, "Oh, avad means evade." That's not it. So the aleph one is the perish, destroy. The ayin one is to serve or to be a slave of. Go back here. All right. So again, let us remember the Lord and let us serve. And here I've got my definite direct object marker again with the suffix. So this is just the 3ms suffix on here. So this is just him. May we let us remember the Lord and let us, or may we serve him. All right. So go down here to D, parse the following. All right, so again, you've got these parsings. I'm only going to pay attention to the tricky ones. Straightforward, regular. This is regular. Shlahi. Excuse me, this is regular as well, but it's imperative. It's missing a prefix. It's got the hirik yod suffix, so this is a 2FS imperative. Here we've got a participle, or a participle as some refer to it, because that O class vowel in the R1 letter, and then the hirik yod mem tells us that it's masculine plural. This cal active participle. Avod here, we've got the kametz in R1 and the holum in R2. This is an infinitive absolute. If this were infinitive, this would be a hatef vowel here. Or a shavah, reduced vowel of some sort, but it's absolute, so it has a full kametz there. Straightforward. This one is a participle. This is a cal active participle. It's got the segel tav ending on it. So I know we associate segel tav endings with infinitives of the one yod vav family, but these also appear on the end of feminine singular participles. So this is from shamar, and we know it's we know it's a participle because it has the O here. All right. O class vowel, the holum. Show merit. All right. Nafalti, straightforward. This is from Nafal. This is not a one yod. You might look at this and think that this is one. You might look at this and think this is a noon prefix of an imperfect, and then a hirik yod suffix of an imperfect, but those two don't go together. This is just perfect, 1 CS of nafal. And then here, this is just a regular imperfect. So the tav is the prefix. You've got a holum R2 to indicate imperfect. So from pakad, this is just the, it will either be 3FS or 2MS. All right, let's take a look here. Pick one to translate. Let's go with, I guess, number 5. So here again, we're going to assume that we've got some sort of verb at the beginning. So when I see a shurik on here, It's probably a suffix. I take that off. I'm left with 2 letters. What verbs do I know of that include a dalet and an ayin? Well, I know yada, he knew. And so for some reason, I'm missing not only any kind of prefix I might have, but I'm also missing the one yod. Well, that's normal for one yods in the imperfect family. The fact that I'm also missing the prefix tells me this is imperative. Shurik tells me it's 2MP, so this is a command to plural, and it happens to be masculine, though a command to a plural group that's mixed would also use the masculine for the most part. So yada is he knew, so this would be something like know or understand that. Key here can be because, but often when it follows a verb of, I don't know if I'd call this a verb of content, but when it follows a verb that sort of has a connotation of content, like you would know some content, you would know some information, the key often appears as a particle of content or a marker of content. So key here is marking the content of that knowledge. Know, understand. Understand what? Understand that. Lo teshavu. So here teshavu, we've got a. I'm trying to think of how you're going to I mean, right away, what I'm seeing is a shurik, and that's usually telling me verb. When I look at the rest of it, this might be my root, but actually, tashav is not a verb that I recognize. When I see the sere here, I start to think one yod. Yashav is a verb that I recognize, so tav here is my prefix. Tav prefix plus a shurik suffix is 2MP. So this is going to be you all will not dwell. Low in here negates it. So you all will dwell, you all will not dwell. So know that you all will not dwell. Al is upon. Ha adama, upon the land or upon the ground. So know that you will not dwell upon the ground or the land. Olam, forever. Key. Now here there's no reason for content to follow. So this more likely is the causal conjunction. So it's indicating reason or cause. So you will not dwell on the land forever because avar tem. So avar here, this is just a cal perfect. This is you. Avar, I think, is to pass by, pass over, pass through, or transgress. There you go. So transgress means to pass. When you transgress a boundary, that means you go over. So avar does mean to go over, to go beyond, to go by, to pass around. But when it's a mitzvot, yeah, mitzvot here, this is not a holam vav. This is a vav with a holam. You know that because the tzade already has its own vowel marker. So it can't have a shava and a holam vav here. This is mitzvot. Because you transgressed or you passed over the mitzvot, the commandments of Adonai. Now you say, how do you get V in here? There's no article. That's because this is in construct with Adonai. And Adonai, even though it doesn't have a definite article, this is a proper name, so it's obviously definite, and that makes mitzvot definite. So you transgressed the commandments of the Lord, the hukaiv. This is a really weird form. When I see we haven't gotten to the pual stem or the pual pattern yet, but when I see the shurik and the dagesh here, that's immediately what I'm thinking. but that's not what this is because one, I wouldn't have a kametz here. And two, what I've actually got with this kametz is a kametz yod vav. This is a 3ms suffix, and it's a possessive suffix. So whatever is going on here, this is some sort of noun being possessed. So I can't remember if the singular form of this is kuch or kok. I think it's kuch, huk, I should say. I think the plural is hukim, but I can't remember for sure what the masculine singular form is. But I know it means ordinances. So his ordinances is the idea here. And I know it's plural, even though I don't see a Hirik Yod Mem or a Seri Yod. I know it's plural because the Vav preceded by the Yod tells me that it's plural. So, understand or know that you will not dwell upon the land forever because you have transgressed the commandments of Yahweh and his decrees or ordinances or statutes. Let's look up Kook real quick because I want to refresh my memory for how that appears. Yeah. All right, so Kok, Chok, it's hard to say. Chok is decree, law, ordinance, statute, whatever. And then I think the plural form of this is Chukim, which is where the shurik comes in. All right, good enough. And let's see here. F. Let's just go ahead and take Deuteronomy 4:1, I guess. I'm going to open it up in my BHS because sometimes it gets offline over there. So, okay. The atah, this is now, and now Israel, Shema, listen, this is the imperative, listen of Shema, El ha-chukim, to the statutes, decrees, and now Israel, listen to the statutes and to the mishpatim, the judgments, the decisions, which Anohi, I, milamad. Now we've not had, or milamed, we've not had lamad yet. I'm pretty sure lamad means to teach. To teach, which, so this is a participle. This is a PL participle. So this would be which I am teaching you. That's what et chem here means. I am teaching you. La asot. This is going to be to do. This is the infinitive form of asa. A third hey infinitive goes to holam vav tav. Asa becomes asot, and then the lamed preposition here. This just adds to the idea of to do. And then lama'an, and I always get lama'an mixed up with. I think in order to is lama'an which I am teaching you to do, in order that you. All right, this is a really tricky one. This is from Chaya, I'm pretty sure, which is live. He lived. Chaya, he lived. But the tav prefix and the shurik suffix tell me this is 2mp. In order that you will live. And actually, this may be a jussive form. Sometimes the second person takes a jussive form to kind of emphasize the contingency or conditionality of it. This isn't saying you are going to live. This is in order that you might live, in order that you would live. And ba, okay, so ba here, this is a hollow verb, which we're learning this week. This is bo. So uvatem is going to be And this is actually a Vav relative use here. You will go, let's see here, Yarash, you will inherit, and you will inherit the land which Yahweh, the God of Avotechem, your fathers, is giving. Notain is the participle form of give, so giving to you. Whew. So I worked through that pretty quick, but that's what we've got going on there. So that is the end of our assignments there. I'm going to go ahead and end this segment of the video, and then I'll do another video where I'm taking a look at the midterm. Just want to go over a few things on that. So thanks so much.